Hi, Sophie here. So today I'm going to share with you the healthiest foods that you can buy at your local grocery store, disease-fighting foods. Okay, so I've laid everything out in front of me on my table. And in terms of the top disease-fighting foods, there are 10 groups that I built, 10 categories that I boiled it down to, or 10 foods that I'm going to show you. And we're going to go through each one of those, all found at my local grocery store and that you can find at your grocery store. And guess what? Food is your medicine. So let's take a look at each grouping I've got here. Okay, so the first grouping is cruciferous vegetables, also known as crucifers. So cauliflower, kale, and then also there would be bok choy and broccoli. But these are my particular personal favorites. I always get a cauliflower because it's so versatile now to roast it and puree it and have it in place of mashed potato, and dino kale to roast, make salads out of, and I love just to gently steam it and it goes bright green, chop it up, little lemon juice, perfect. So the third vegetable in this class of crucifers is broccoli sprouts. Now, broccoli sprouts have a very special place in your disease prevention kitchen because they contain similar compounds to the kale, to all cruciferous veggies, the sulforaphane, but it is highly concentrated in broccoli sprouts. And they have been found to exhibit anti-cancer activities, anti-tumor activities. So the science is very interesting. And I'm just of the mind now, as a nutritionist, that we should all try and eat broccoli sprouts 2 or 3 times a week, if not every day, for disease prevention and to stay young and beautiful. So broccoli sprouts always come in a clam shell. Unfortunately, I don't love the plastic, but I always recycle it or reuse it. You can try and grow your own broccoli sprouts, but in my experience, it is quite a labor of love to do that, and I get through a lot of them, so I do just buy them. They're very tasty, they're slightly spicy. I will sprinkle them on a salad. Easy, done and done. They can just go in my daily salad. Now, the one other thing I wanted to say about your disease-fighting cruciferous veggies are they are very low cost, certainly cauliflower and kale, extremely low cost. And what it does in your body is pretty magical. In order to increase the cancer-fighting compounds, what you want to do is make sure you chop it and chew it. So always think chop and chew. And when you chop a cruciferous veggie, it could be broccoli, kale, or cauliflower, you chop it and leave it for a few minutes. Then the anti-cancerous, the anti-disease fighting compounds, I should say, are released. So give it a little time after you've chopped it before you cook it or eat it. And then the final little tip I want to give you while we're on the cruciferous vegetable category is with kale. Kale is a little bit of an outlier in terms of how you cook it. And some vegetables, some greens actually lose some of their nutrients when you even steam them. Spinach does. Spinach is very high in vitamin C, and that vitamin C is quickly lost with a steaming and especially boiling. But kale actually releases more nutrients when it's blanched or steamed. And you can really see that because it goes bright green just when you've steamed it for a couple of minutes. And my favorite way to cook and most nutritious way to cook and eat kale is just to quickly steam it for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, let's go on to the next disease-fighting food in your local grocery store, and that would be tomatoes. So yes, you can buy fresh tomatoes, but I always have tons of cans of organic tomatoes. You want your tomatoes to be organic if possible. And they contain lycopene, which is disease fighting. It's also extremely good for your skin and for your eyes. And so we want to have as much lycopene as we can. This lycopene is one of those nutrients that's made the Mediterranean diet so popular, because tomatoes obviously feature a lot in a Mediterranean diet, all those beautiful red pasta sauces that are full of lycopene. And often it is enhanced when it is cooked. So that's another veggie that might be a useful one to cook. So you have your cans, get BPA-free cans, and I pop it in everything, in soups, in casseroles, in chilies. I just probably use a can of tomatoes almost every single day. And again, disease fighting properties in there. Okay, the next category, it would be your sweet potatoes, your orange squash, it could be your carrots, it's your bright orange vegetables. And the bright orange vegetables contain beta carotene, which is another disease-fighting nutrient. So they are often better off cooked, just gently cooked. Carrots are fine to be cooked. Sweet potatoes definitely need to be cooked. And the only way that you can destroy the nutrients or make them not as nutritious in a meal would be to fry the heck out of it, like sweet potato fries, which are delicious. But honestly, steam it, mash it, bake it, pop them in your air fryer. But again, a very, very inexpensive and highly nutritious disease-fighting food. All right, then we go on to the category of the allium vegetables, which would be your onions and your garlic. Very obvious that I think most of us know now that they do actually contain significant immune boosting compounds. Also very, very good for gut health, and gut health is the foundation of your health, so we want to eat these. So get red onions and brown onions, think about the difference in variety, and garlic. Now here's the thing I want to say about onions and garlic is you want to try and eat some raw every single day. I know most of us cook with onions, but try and eat a little bit of raw onion, and definitely have your garlic raw if you can digest it. If you can't, you might even want to take it in capsules, the dry aged garlic, because when you eat it raw, it's going to be a great prebiotic, number one, but also the compounds that actually boost your immune system, and in some cases have found to be cancerous, are found in the raw vegetables. So here's what you could do. If you're making a pasta sauce, if you're making a stew, if you're making anything like that, just add some really finely minced onion at the very end of cooking, and the same with your garlic. And of course, you can chop up red onion in beautiful Mexican dishes and salsas, or just finely shred it on salads. And I always have raw garlic in my salad dressings. Okay, let's go on to the next category, which is mushrooms. So mushrooms are almost, I think they're like my top. Broccoli sprouts, onions and garlic and mushrooms would be my top 3 disease-fighting foods if I had to pick 3. But mushrooms are right in there. They're the ultimate weight loss food, and they give a lovely meaty kind of texture and taste and umami to dishes. So if you are plant-based, which I am, I use mushrooms a lot. Now here's the thing, it doesn't really matter which mushroom you use. You could just use your regular brown or white sort of button or cremini mushroom, or you could go to your shiitake. Different mushrooms do boast slightly different health, that have slightly different compounds in them. But just get mushrooms, and just get the most affordable little brown or white mushrooms, and try and eat them every single day. They contain beta-glucans, immunomodulating compounds that are so important. We're going to be hearing more and more about this, but please fall in love with your mushrooms and use them almost every single day. Okay, that takes us to our next category, which is beans. So sometimes I buy dry beans, but more often than not, because I'm a really busy woman, probably like you, or it might be a guy watching, a busy guy, it's fine to buy them in cans. Just make sure the cans are BPA free. I like to buy my beans organic, and beans are One of the foods that has been shown to be a very strong indicator of longevity and health span, typically when populations have been studied for over 30 years, they always have a bean in their diet. They also significantly lower cholesterol, they stabilize blood sugar, they have the second meal effect, which is when you eat them, you won't get hungry 3 hours later, as you would when you certainly eat an animal protein. So they are the ultimate healthy food, and they are so inexpensive, particularly when you buy them dry. And often I find the cans on sale for less than 99 cents a can. All right, that takes us to our next group, which is berries. So if there's one fruit, and all fruits in my book are very, very healthy. Again, I'd say between the two, fruits and beans would give each other a run for their money to be the healthiest indicator of long, healthy lifespan. Populations that eat a lot of fruit and or beans, but generally both. If you're going to just buy one fruit, I would go for a berry, a darker berry, because of the antioxidant content. Blackberries are very high up there for me. Again, unfortunately, it's a lot of the time of year I can only get them in the plastic clamshell, which I really, really don't like at all. But again, I'll reuse it. And definitely recycle it. But when I can find them in the farmer's market, I will buy them loose and then freeze them myself. I also like to get blueberries. I get them frozen most of the time because I put them in smoothies. I make sure they're organic. Best case, I like organic wild blueberries. So those are my chosen. They tend to have the highest antioxidant content. And that takes us to almost the final. We've got one more after it group, which is your spices. So don't ever think that little lowly spices in their little glass bottles don't pack a disease-fighting punch. In fact, some of the most disease-fighting punches you're going to get are going to be from your spices. They are highly, highly anti-inflammatory. Turmeric, crushed red chili peppers, chipotle chili. If you can get your fresh peppers, often you can get fresh red serrano peppers or jalapeno peppers. It honestly doesn't really matter whether they're dried or fresh, but just start spicing up your food. It's one of the most health-giving things that you can pepper into your lunch and dinner every single day. And then finally, at our local grocery store, you're always going to find nuts. Now try and find your nuts raw. So I don't want you buying roasted and salted nuts. They're extremely calorific. A lot of the oils are going to be rancid. They're covered in salt. Most of us eat way too much salt. So buy the nuts raw, if possible. So I have here raw almonds. My top three nuts are raw almonds, raw walnuts, and raw Brazil nuts. Try and vary up your nuts. If I had pecans here, I'd show you pecans as well, because each of those four nuts, almonds, walnuts, Brazils, and pecans, have different health properties, different compounds to help you fight disease, and they're very high in antioxidants. So buy them raw. You can always soak them and dehydrate them in a very low oven overnight, or a dehydrator to crisp them up. And finally, Brazil nuts contain quite a lot of selenium, which is extremely good for your thyroid, to boost thyroid function. And one or two Brazil nuts a day suffice. You don't have to have it every day, but give or take one or two, throw it in your smoothie and you're good to go. And the bonus disease-fighting food, and one that is so close to my heart, is flax seeds, ground flax seeds. You can find them in virtually any grocery store now, often in the bulk bins, so you can buy them for a little less expensive, or in a bag. The ultimate disease-fighting food for three reasons actually. One, it's a great source of fiber, and the more fiber you get in the diet, the better, for lowering cholesterol, for preventing disease, for detoxification, and everything else. Also, they are high in omega-3 fatty acids, which is really important for your brain. It's a really healthy fat, particularly as you get older. But then most importantly, they contain lignans, and lignans have found to be preventative against breast cancer. So all you ladies out there, or if any guys are watching, tell your wife, tell your partner, tell your daughter that they want to be trying to eat flax every single day. I've done a whole nother video all about flax, but about 1 tablespoon a day is a good amount to go for. Throw it in your smoothie, stir it into your oatmeal, whatever, but the ultimate disease-fighting food. Okay, so how simple and easy was that? I love to share how easy and affordable it is for you to go out and buy these foods. Each one of them has a different purpose, if you like. Nature has packaged this medicine in a food to help your body fight disease. And as you've seen, it doesn't have to be, we don't have to go for crazy superfoods. It doesn't have to be expensive. We can just put them in our carts every single day or every single week, and we're good to go. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, found it useful. Please ask me questions, leave me any comments. And if you like this video, which is the topic is nutrition, check out some of my other nutrition videos, and please subscribe so you don't miss anything going forward.